You will not believe this story about the Bermuda Triangle, which was classified in the USA. Be sure to watch it to the end. In the end, you will learn shocking news that will have a huge impact on you. This story is based on real events and has shocked millions of Americans. Leviathan's Wake. Chapter 1. The Devil in the Deep. The Marlin, a rust-stained research vessel, cut through the pre-dawn fog of the Bermuda Triangle like a blade through silk. Aboard her, a team of scientists, thrill-seekers, and skeptics gathered on the deck, their faces lit by the eerie glow of sonar screens. Dr. Elias Vance, a disgraced marine biologist with a penchant for conspiracy theories, adjusted his glasses and pointed to the pulsing red blip on the monitor. "That's no shipwreck," he said. "That's something alive." The team. 1. Captain Kara Ruiz, a no-nonsense ex-Navy salvage expert with a prosthetic leg and a grudge against the ocean. 2. Finn Dawson, a cocky YouTuber, documentarian who cared more about clicks than truth. 3. Dr. Lien Nguyen, a skeptical oceanographer who thought Vance was a fraud. 4. Mateo Rojas, a deep-sea diver with a history of hallucinations and a secret. 5. Sophia West, a billionaire's daughter funding the expedition for reasons she wouldn't share. The first conflict. Within hours, tensions flared. "You're telling me you dragged us out here for a sea monster?" Lien scoffed, crossing her arms. "The triangle's just bad weather and methane pockets." "Then explain this." Vance shot back, slamming a photo on the table, a satellite image of a gigantic, serpentine shadow circling a sinking cargo ship. Finn grinned, already scripting his next viral video. "Dude, we're gonna be famous." Kara's grip tightened on the wheel. Or dead. The first twist. That night, the Marlin's engines died without warning. The crew rushed to the deck just in time to see the water part around them. Something massive glided beneath the hull, its scales reflecting moonlight like polished obsidian. Then the radio crackled to life with a distress call from 1945 Flight 19, the Lost Squadron, screaming about wings in the water. "That's impossible," Lien whispered. "Not if time doesn't work right down there," Mateo murmured, his eyes glazed. "It's been calling me for years." Before anyone could react, the ship lurched. Metal screamed as something rammed them from below. Finn's camera rolled as the deck tilted, capturing the moment a clawed, webbed hand the size of a car slammed onto the railing. Then the lights went out. The cliffhanger. In the darkness, Sophia's voice cut through the chaos. "It's not an animal, it's angry." And then from the depths below, something roared. Chapter 2. The Taken. The Marlin groaned as the creature's grip tightened around its hull, the sound of twisting metal screaming into the night. The crew stumbled in the pitch black, their flashlights cutting jagged beams through the fog. Then silence. The creature was gone. But something was wrong. 1. Mateo's visions were never hallucinations. Mateo collapsed against the railing, his breath ragged. "It's been talking to me," he whispered. "What the hell does that mean?" Finn demanded, camera still rolling. Mateo's pupils were dilated, his voice hollow. "The dreams. The voices. I thought I was crazy, but..." He yanked up his sleeve, revealing a bioluminescent scar in the shape of a spiraling vortex. "I was on a dive 3 years ago. Something touched me." Lien grabbed his arm, her scientific skepticism crumbling. "This is a brand. Like it marked you." A low, guttural hum vibrated through the ship's frame, a sound no animal on Earth could make. "It's back," Kara hissed. 2. Sophia's family curse. Sophia's hands shook as she pulled out a 1943 leather logbook from her waterproof satchel. "My great-grandfather's ship vanished here. So did my uncle's. And my cousin's." She flipped to a page, revealing a sketch of a massive, multi-eyed creature wrapped around a sinking vessel. "They weren't taken by storms. They were sacrificed." Finn's smirk vanished. Sacrificed to what? Before she could answer, the radio blared to life again, this time with a child's voice singing a haunting, distorted rendition of "My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean." 3. The truth about Flight 19. Vance's face went pale. He rewound the audio. isolating a subsonic frequency beneath the singing. This isn't a distress call, it's a recording. Then a new voice cut in. A man, screaming. They're not planes, they're skin. They peel off the... Static. Leon's blood ran cold. They weren't lost. They were harvested. The second attack. The deck exploded upward as a tentacle thicker than a redwood erupted from the water, slamming into Finn and sending him flying overboard. Finn! Kara lunged, but it was too late. The water boiled as something dragged him under, but not before his camera, still recording, caught a flash of pale, humanoid faces just beneath the surface. The shocking twist. As the crew scrambled, Sophia grabbed Vance's arm, her voice desperate. You don't understand, my family didn't send ships here. We lured them, to keep it from coming ashore. Mateo's scar burned blue. Too late, he choked. It's not hunting us anymore. It's hurting us. Behind them, the ocean parted. Something ancient. Something hungry. And it wasn't alone. Chapter 3. The Changed. The ocean fell unnaturally still as the Marlin drifted in the suffocating fog. Finn was gone. The creature had vanished, but the crew knew it was watching. Then, the radio crackled again. A new voice, Finn's voice, but warped, wet, wrong. Guys, you need to see this. 1. Finn's transformation. 3 hours later, Finn's camera washed up on a debris field 20 miles away, still recording. The footage showed Finn alive, but his skin was translucent, veins pulsing blue. Gills slit his neck. His eyes were black from edge to edge. The last frame? Him smiling at the camera, whispering, "It's so much better down here." He wasn't drowned. He was upgraded. 2. The Keepers of the Deep. Mateo's scar burned hotter. "They're not monsters," he gasped. "They're caretakers." Leon pulled up sonar images, dozens of humanoid shapes circling beneath them. Not creatures, people, or what was left of them. Flight 19, Vance realized. The lost ships, the missing crews. They didn't die, they were recruited. Kara's prosthetic leg suddenly hummed, reacting to some unseen frequency. Oh my god, it's not just the water. Metal calls it too. 3. Sophia's betrayal. Sophia backed toward the lifeboat, a serum-filled syringe glinting in her hand. I tried to warn you, she said, voice shaking. But the deal's the deal. One life from millions. Then gunfire. A masked mercenary emerged from the shadows, rifle trained on Mateo. Sorry, kid, the assassin muttered. You're the package. 4. Sophia's childhood trauma. Sophia's eyes welled with tears as she revealed the truth. At age 8, she'd survived a yacht accident that killed her parents. She'd been pulled from the water by something that wasn't human. It spoke to her, made a pact with her family. Bring us the marked one, it had said. Or we come ashore. Mateo was the sacrifice. 5. The hired killer's mission. The mercenary wasn't just hired to kill. He was hired to deliver. His employer? Dr. Vance. You son of a bitch! Kara snarled. Vance adjusted his glasses, cold. You think I chase legends for science? The Pentagon pays billions for what's in Mateo's blood. The escape. As the mercenary fired, the creature struck. A tentacle speared through his chest, yanking him into the depths. Sophia lunged for the lifeboat, but the water reached for her, pulling her under with a scream. Then, from the darkness, Finn's voice echoed. Join us! The cliffhanger. With the ship collapsing around them, Mateo grabbed Leon's hand. His scar was spreading. It's not a curse, he whispered. It's an invitation. Behind them, the ocean opened, and something ascended. Chapter 4. The Light Between Monsters. The sea wasn't water anymore. It was a living, breathing membrane, rising and falling like some great leviathan's chest. The marlin listed violently as the thing beneath them. No, the thing circled closer. Mateo's bioluminescent scar pulsed in time with their movements, casting ghostly blue light across the terror-stricken faces of what remained of the crew. Then the radio screamed to life again. 1. Vance's true mission. A game of gods. Vance wasn't running toward the lifeboats with the others. He stood at the helm, frantically typing into a military-grade satellite device hidden in his bag. "You knew," Kara snarled, grabbing him by the collar. "This whole time you knew." Vance's glasses reflected the storm as he smiled. "Of course I did." The truth detonated like a depth charge. Project Looking Glass. A Cold War-era Black Ops program that discovered acoustic frequencies capable of summoning entities from the Triangle. Vance wasn't a disgraced scientist. He was a contractor, hired to weaponize whatever was down here. "They've been trying to replicate Mateo's condition for decades," he hissed. "Controlled evolution. Soldiers who can breathe underwater. Think of the applications." Then a new voice crackled over the radio. "Marlin, this is USCGC Hammerhead. Hold position for extraction." "A Coast Guard ship? Here? Now?" Something was very, very wrong. 2. Kara's prosthetic leg. A gift from the deep. Kara's prosthetic leg vibrated violently, the titanium alloy humming as if resonating with something beneath the waves. She collapsed, screaming as the neural interface flashed with corrupted data. Images flooded her mind. A lighthouse. Not on any map. Built from black coral and human bone. Herself, years younger, bleeding out on some forgotten beach. A figure emerging from the surf, pressing a strange metal into her wounds. "You'll serve better this way." "It's not a leg," she gasped. "It's a beacon." And whatever was coming recognized its own. 3. The marked ones. An army of the changed. Mateo convulsed as his scar split open, revealing not blood, but bioluminescent tendrils. The crew watched in horror as similar scars began glowing beneath their skin. They'd all been marked, they just hadn't known it. Leanne tore at her sleeve. "Oh God, I have one too." A faint spiral on her wrist, nearly faded. From a childhood beach trip she barely remembered. "How many of us are there?" she whispered. The answer came from the waves. Dozens of figures broke the surface. Men, women, children, some half-transformed, others eerily human. All watching. All waiting. Finn stood among them, his black eyes unblinking. "You don't drown here," he called. "You ascend." 4. False salvation. The ship that wasn't. The Hammerhead loomed through the fog, its searchlights cutting across the Marlin's deck. No crew waved from the rails. No voices called out. Just silence. Then the Hammerhead's hull split open, not with damage, but with something organic, like a flower made of rusted metal and pulsating veins. "That's not a rescue ship," Vance breathed. "It's a hive." 5. The monster didn't need people, it needed volunteers. The creatures that changed weren't attacking. They were offering a choice. Finn reached out a webbed hand. No more pain, no more fear, just evolution. Sophia's voice suddenly crackled from the water alive, but changed. "They don't take, they ask, and some of us say yes." 6. The lighthouse, the Triangle's beating heart. Then, as if summoned by their realization, the fog parted. A lighthouse stood on the horizon, its structure impossible, built from shipwrecks, fused together like some grotesque coral reef. Its beam cut through the night, not with light, but with a sound that made their teeth vibrate. The source of the signal. The reason ships vanished. Not a warning. A call. The choice. The crew stood at the precipice. Kara, her prosthetic leg now fused to her flesh, pulling her toward the water. Leanne, her old scar burning, whispering, "What if they're right?" Vance, gripping his device, realizing too late he was never the one in control. Mateo, no longer afraid, stepping toward the railing. And then, the lighthouse's beam shifted. A voice, older than language, echoed in their skulls. "Come home." Chapter 5. The lighthouse at the end of time. The Marlin was gone. Not sunk, erased. One moment it groaned against the waves, the next, its rusted hull dissolved into the fog like salt in water. The crew found themselves standing on a black sand beach, the impossible lighthouse looming before them, its twisted spire pulsating with an eerie, non-light that cast no shadows. And then the voice came again. "You're late." 1. What waits inside the lighthouse? The door creaked open before they could knock. Inside, the air smelled of ozone and old blood. The walls weren't made of stone or metal, but compressed ship hulls, fused together like melted wax. And at the center, seated on a throne of anchors and human bones, was a man. Or something wearing a man's skin. His face shifted like smoke. One second a WWE naval officer, the next a conquistador, then a face none of them recognized but all of them knew. "You can call me Keeper," he said, smiling with too many teeth. "And you've been expected. 2. The Pentagon's true endgame, a war for godhood." Vance's satellite device exploded in his hands, spewing holographic files the crew was never meant to see. Operation Neptune's Spear. Not a mission to study the triangle. A mission to harvest it. The Pentagon had known for decades. The deep wasn't just alive. It was intelligent. And it had tech or magic older than Babylon. They don't want to fight it, Leon realized. They want to become it. Keeper laughed, a sound like drowning sailors. "Your masters are children playing with fire. They think they can steal what was never theirs." Then he snapped his fingers. 3. Kara's final mission. Betrayal or redemption. Kara's prosthetic leg moved on its own, dragging her toward Keeper. Memories flooded her real ones. She hadn't lost her leg in combat. She'd lost it here, and she'd volunteered. "You were my eyes topside," Keeper whispered. "You brought them home. Now finish it." The crew recoiled. Had Kara been leading them here all along? 4. Artifacts of the Drowned Kingdom. The lighthouse's lower chambers were a museum of madness. Atlantean glyphs depicting wars against sky demons. A golden compass that pointed not north, but toward fear. And worst of all, a mural of the triangle itself, not as water, but as a living, breathing entity. "We were here first," Keeper said. "Then your kind came with your ships, your bombs, your noise." 5. The memories that weren't there. Mateo screamed, clutching his head. Visions tore through him. Himself, but older, standing on this same beach, welcoming others. Leon, her body half transformed, leading an army of the changed. Vance, strapped to a table as something poured itself into his mouth. "What is this?" he begged. Keeper's grin widened. "Not memories. Prophesize." 6. The portal. A door to worlds undrowned. Then the floor opened. Not a hole, a gateway. Through it they saw a version of the Marlin where Sophia was captain and Finn was the scientist. A skyline of black pyramids where Miami should be. Themselves, but different. Changed kneeling before Keeper in some gilded past. "Time isn't a line here," Keeper whispered. "It's a whirlpool." The choice. The crew stood at the precipice of understanding and annihilation. Vance reached for the compass, his eyes alight with greed. Leon backed away, her scar burning. "We were never supposed to come here." Kara looked at her prosthetic, then at Keeper. "What did you do to me?" Mateo stepped toward the portal. "I remember now. I volunteered too." And then the lighthouse screamed. Chapter 6. The Schism. The lighthouse's scream wasn't a sound, it was a fracture in reality itself. The crew collapsed as the walls around them peeled away like rotting skin, revealing the true structure beneath. A cavernous, pulsating chamber lined with thousands of glass cylinders, each containing a floating human figure. Some wore conquistador armor. Others, flight suits from the 1940s. One, a face they all recognized, Sophia. Her body suspended in glowing liquid, eyes wide open. "The builders," Keeper whispered, gesturing to the tanks. "The first who tried to leave. Now they serve differently." 1. Who really built the lighthouse? The truth unfolded in fragments of nightmare. The lighthouse wasn't a warning beacon. It was a prison. Built not by humans, but by them, the ones who came before, the ones who dug too deep and woke what should have slept. The cylinders weren't preservation tanks, they were batteries. Human minds powering the barrier, keeping the triangle's true horror contained. Leon pressed her hands against Sophia's cylinder. "She's feeding it?" Keeper's smile dripped with pity. "You all are." 2. The Pentagon's final solution. A terror from the sky. Vance's mangled satellite device suddenly reactivated, projecting a classified Pentagon feed. A nuclear submarine positioned at the triangle's edge. Orders to detonate a chronivore device, a bomb designed not to destroy matter, but to erase time itself in a 50-mile radius. "If we can't control it," growled the Secretary of Defense, "we'll unmake it." Keeper laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "They think fire can kill the ocean?" 3. The other team. A world without light. The portal still flickered, showing the alternate Marlin crew in their final moments. Finn is a scientist, dissecting a changed corpse, screaming, "It's in the water supply!" Kara, with 2 flesh legs, piloting a plane into the lighthouse's beam. Sophia, unmarked and alive, whispering to an empty room. "There was never a ship. We've always been here." Then the vision shifted. A version of the triangle without water. Just a crater, bottomless and black, with something moving in the dark. 4. The smuggler's secret, a human cancer. Beneath the lighthouse, they found a modern bunker. Inside, a submarine drone loaded with uncut diamonds. A ledger detailing accidents arranged for rivals. The disappearances weren't all it, Mateo realized. People used the legend to cover their crimes. Keeper's voice dripped with disgust. "Your kind infect everything you touch." 5. The prophecy, and the Keeper's true role. Carved into the chamber's floor was a 13-0-year-old inscription. "When the Keeper walks again, the sea will judge the land. The marked shall become the markers, and the false world will drown in its own lies." Leon traced the words. "You're not the villain. You're the judge." Keeper's form flickered, revealing something vast and terrible beneath. "I am what your sins made me." 6. The shattering revelation, a lie in the water. Then the world ripped. One moment they stood in the lighthouse. The next strapped to hospital beds, IVs in their arms, surrounded by doctors in quarantine suits. Dr. Rachel Silva, Chief of Psychiatry, Yale New Haven Hospital. "You've been here for 17 months. There was no Marlin, no triangle. Just a shared psychotic break triggered by experimental schizophrenia medication." A screen played security footage. The crew, screaming about monsters, in a white room. Vance babbling about the Keeper as orderlies held him down. Kara's prosthetic Ligust, a normal prosthetic. "It wasn't real," Dr. Silva said softly. But then Kara's forebag bubbled. The liquid inside swirled into a perfect spiral. And from the hospital speakers, a voice that wasn't human. Wasn't it? What do you think about this story? Write in the comments, subscribe, and wait for the next video, in which I will tell you about an equally shocking animal that surprised the whole world. If you don't subscribe, you will make a huge mistake.